It's 2025. That's what the internet can be. Like, oh, this guy's trash. Hey, keep sucking or keep blowing, however you want to look at it.
They say hunting is in your blood. But what if you're just winging it? Justin's the middle-aged rookie with a new passion for hunting and an even newer bird dog. Erik, he's the guy who actually knows what he's doing. Most of the time. If you're into hunting, bird dogs, or just watching a guy learn the hard way, you're in the right place. Welcome to Upland Underdog.
Erik, after a brief hiatus so you could go to Hawaii, we are back recording a podcast episode.
Yeah, sorry, I had to interrupt our regularly scheduled episodes to take a 10-day trip. But
Yeah. Hawaii was a blast, I'm sure. We haven't even had a chance to catch up on it.
no, not at all. I'm right back into life with sports and work. And so, no, haven't even talked about it at all.
Ain't that the life? Ain't that the life? Well, we have some exciting news for our first podcast back in quite a while, and that is we have other Erik with us today. Other Erik over here. He's the other Erik that lives next to me and also hunts. And the reason Erik is here is because Erik is an avid duck hunter. And this is a Upland Underdog podcast, but as you may have seen on social media or wherever, I am trying all of the things, and one of those things would be duck hunting. So who better to ask than someone who is an avid duck hunter? Welcome, Erik.
Oh, hi, thanks. I'd also say I'm an avid upland hunter, but only when duck season is winding down or boring or doing something else. Like if I'm not shooting ducks or the ducks aren't here, then I'll go upland hunting.
Okay, that makes sense.
Sorry.
So for your upland hunting, since we actually haven't talked much about that almost ever, what do you like to hunt when you go upland hunting more than most?
Quail are my absolute favorite. Like it seems like a lot of people are pheasants. That's their jam, and they're big and they make a nice thud when they hit the ground. But quail, when you get that cover your eyes and there's 20 or 30 birds in it and they just go everywhere, there's just this moment of chaos, and that's just an exhilarating feeling.
Absolutely. Yeah. Agree on that completely. You're going to see pheasants, one or two, but see a big covey of quail is exciting.
And so my dad had bird dogs growing up, my whole life growing up. So we had short hairs, and my mom's family lived in Kansas and Nebraska. So we would go out and do trips out there and stuff. And I was little enough that I didn't actually get to go hunting very much and everything. And he always told me, he was like, they were big pheasant hunters, so that's predominantly what they do. And then he'd get in a covey of quail or whatever, and just got to like go off and take the dog and go on his own. And they would kind of like hang out, and then dad would come back and bring the dog and then go on with her way. And when I got my oldest dog, who's now 14, we went out there, and she was like, I don't know, 3 or 4. And I got to witness it myself, because dad and I, we got into this massive covey of quail, and we're chasing through some cedar trees, and the cousins, as we call them, were just hanging out. And they're like, you guys done having fun? We're like, yeah, we're back. Okay, here we are. So
yeah, as everyone who's been paying attention knows, I bought myself a bird dog earlier this year, and one of the people I consulted about that purchase was other Erik. I'll stop calling you that, I promise. But for all intents and purposes, I got to say Erik and look at one of you.
It's K or C or other Erik, and I can be other Erik. I'm totally cool with that.
And so I consulted with Erik, and he is one of the reasons I took my dog to Prince's Quality Gun Dogs. He was nice enough to invite me over one night, me and my wife over, and say, just so you know, a bird dog sounds cool, but this is what you're getting into. So make sure you know all of the things, because it's a lot of work. So yeah, what was your general advice when I said, hey, I'm gonna get a bird dog and start hunting?
Don't get a German wire hair, because they can be great dogs, but I've seen some other ones that I would not like to have around other dogs. I've never seen one that was actually a bad hunting dog. That was a big one. They got lots of energy, and if you're not going to be consistent with it, don't do it. Like the consistency is the number one key with training a dog.
Yep. So. And I have taken that to heart. I could be more consistent, as I'm sure
we all could.
Anyone could, exactly. But I've luckily found that local trainer that I've been taking her to, so that's helping with my consistency. And the reason I'm taking her there is because my wife and I have kids that do stuff all of the time. And if we need to leave for a couple of days, we were out of town last weekend for a 90th birthday party in Tennessee. So instead of boarding her at a kennel for 3 days and spending hundreds of dollars there, I said, hey, trainer, can you just take her while we're out of town? And it worked out great. So she's getting fine-tuned whenever we have something going on, which helps me continue the fine-tuning.
Correct.
So it was, and you also said I've never owned a Griff, and do you know people that own Griffs, or did you say you don't know anyone?
So I've done NAVDA stuff, North American Versatile Hunting Dog Association. So I've been around some Griffs, but I don't actually have any friends or directly hunted with them other than through NAVDA.
Okay. Well, that'll change one day.
It will.
My girl's not ready yet, but when she is. So yeah, that's generally the background on some of the conversations Erik and I have had about hunting. But again, primarily a duck hunter. You'd say you're a bigger duck hunter than upland hunter.
For sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm an opportunistic upland hunter, and I'm a psychopathic duck hunter.
You mentioned that when we were talking last night when I said, oh, you should come on the podcast. You were mentioning I'm a psycho. You said that probably 3 times in conversation?
Yeah. There's probably some OCD tendencies that I have just in general because I am an engineer by degree. So there's some, nerd in there. But then also I don't know. My dad was a guide in Northern Illinois. So he's duck hunted my whole life. And to the point where like my mom would joke that it's duck season. I don't have a husband any longer. And then I think his favorite thing in life was when I got really excited about duck hunting because he's like, oh, darn, I have to take our child hunting. Sorry, honey. Like, well,
it's bonding time. I have to take
yeah,
it.
right. He asked. So, yeah, I mean, it's like in high school and college, I mean, it was like the end of October whenever duck season would start through, end of December. And it was like every weekend that I possibly could. I would always take that Thanksgiving week because it was awesome, getting off for school. I would hunt every day that week. I mean, it was just like, I was doing everything I could to shoot a duck.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's my mentality so far with upland hunting. I just keep going out to public land and seeing 1 or 2 birds and killing none. But I'm like, I got to get back out there and see what I can find. Got to get back out there and see what I can do. And the fun thing about duck hunting is, I actually said when I got my dog and everything, I was like, I'm not going to hunt ducks. Why would I hunt ducks? Because that sounds like more work. That sounds like more equipment. That sounds like just let me ease myself.
Of all of the hunting that you could do with a dog, it's the most expensive one.
My wife listens to these. You can't keep saying these things. But yeah, that was my general view of the hunting world. Is I'm going to be satisfied with this. And so far, I've hunted doves like less than 10 times, and I'm like, there's a duck draw. I should probably enter that. I don't know what that even means or entails, but I'll enter that. And then I got an email saying, you've been selected for this duck draw. And I was like, well, now I'd feel bad if I didn't go.
Yeah, so. I mean, you took the spot from somebody else.
Exactly. I'm robbing someone. I might as well go. And fun fact about Erik, the usual Erik, is Erik, how many times have you been duck hunting?
I've never been duck hunting.
Never been either.
For all the reasons that Erik just explained. For one, it can get very expensive. Actually, for me, sports when growing up was in the fall. So during the fall, I'm still doing pretty active in sports. And trying to get time to go out on the weekends, it just didn't happen. And it never had anybody invite me. Weirdly enough, like you said, for hunting in gentle or shooting, I just never had the opportunity to go. So
yeah, it just takes an invite. That's what we always say about this whole thing is everyone is very inviting and welcoming, ignoring the fact that they're all between 250 and 300 pounds and bearded. Well, a lot of the people I know. Sorry. But yes, in general, they can be rough looking, but they're the kindest people that I've spoken to in a lot of different things when I'm trying to get understanding of what's happening with the hunting world. So there's been plenty of interactions where people give freely information. And I've learned that a lot where on the last few days for social media, I've been posting videos of myself trying to learn how to duck call. Again, when I started that series, there was 75 days exactly until I get to go duck hunting for the first time. And I don't have anything for duck hunting other than the chutzpah to go. I did buy some decoys off of Facebook Marketplace. I got 28 decoys for $80. Are they brand new? Absolutely not. Are they going to work? Who the hell knows? But it's cheaper than me buying all brand new stuff when who knows what I'm going to like and what I'm not going to like. Because I haven't bought brand new decoys, but I'm sure that as someone who duck hunts, you're like, well, if it was up to me, I would get this brand and this size and this type, and I don't even know all the brand sizes and types.
Correct. Yeah, like I have a friend who, good buddy of mine, and is constantly trying to like help out. So he'll like send me links. And he's like, "Hey, this is on sale." I'm like, "Nope, tried it. It's junk. It wears out." Duck hunting's really hard on equipment because you're doing it when it's cold. You're banging stuff in and out of boats. You're tired. Like, I've never known a duck hunter to be like kind and gentle with any of his equipment. So like, yeah, when you're like, I don't know if it's the right kind. I was like, they're probably loud. They probably bang. because that the inexpensive ones do. And I was like, paint chip, things like that. I mean, there's so much stuff with the equipment that like when you're a psycho, you write down details or learn them. And yeah.
Again, for the first time, I figured, and that's what I said about the whole thing. My first rifle was a all-purpose rifle that if I don't like hunting or if I don't like shooting, I've got it for multiple uses, and I don't need to have something uber specific.
You don't. I mean, people down in Tennessee used to take like 2-liter jugs or 2-liter soda bottles and paint them black and tie a weight to it, and that worked too. I mean, you can kill ducks over a lot of different things. It's just when that's the thing that you're crazy about, you tend to get a little more down the rabbit hole. So.
Yeah, and the duck calling is the interesting thing that I wanted to kind of look a little bit more into on this specific podcast, because I am on day 5 currently. Spoiler alert, we record these in advance. I'm on day 5 currently, and I've gotten a lot better in 5 days, but I am still awful. And people in the comments section, specifically on TikTok, because that's where it gets the most views and whatnot, but on TikTok, they are giving me the same tips. They are giving me the same pointers. And I'm thinking I'm doing these things. And I sent you a video. I was like, everyone's saying I'm not using my diaphragm. Am I really not? I think I'm using my diaphragm. What am I doing? And you kindly gave me some tips last night that helped out quite a bit too. But the moral of me even bringing that up is, again, people are willing to help out. And they're not even being mean. They could be like, you suck. Just keep on scrolling. It's 2025. That's what the internet can be. Like, oh, this guy's trash. Hey, keep sucking or keep blowing, however you want to look at it. So there's that going on. But overall, it's all been positive. There's actually been 3 different people that have just said, hey, accept my message. And I accepted their message on TikTok. And they're like, they sent me like a 1-minute long video of, here's what I think you're doing wrong. Here's what you can do better. So everyone, again, being very supportive and very nice about it, because I've learned that duck calling is hard. Have you ever duck called Erik? I'm not putting you on the spot. Okay.
Never.
Okay. I just started. I got this for Father's Day earlier this year, and I've blown into it probably a couple of times just to see what it sounds like. And then it's gross right now because I blew in it a lot today. And then I started blowing on it. I started.
There's no way that we're going to get through this without being able to giggle. So we'll just.
Yep, I started blowing into it 5 days ago, like trying to actually figure it out. And there's a lot going on with it. And this is what I was telling Erik last night. It is all the more realization for me to say this is a sport, because the practice before the big game, you have to do it. Because before the end of December, when the duck hunt is going to be, I need to get at least good with this, because you don't duck hunt and you're going with me. My brother-in-law doesn't duck hunt and he's going with me. And so I might be the only person that even gives us a chance to have birds come near us if I can call them. So that's why I'm trying to learn now. So, Erik, how long have you been duck calling? You told me a story last night about your first good duck call was in high school.
Yeah. So my dad was a guide up in northern Illinois, so he is a phenomenal duck caller. And for a lot of my childhood, I was so focused on I want to shoot the ducks that like I was like, there's no way I'm going to touch a call, because like I could screw it up. I don't want to screw up that. I don't know what actually got me to decide that that's what I wanted to do in high school. I don't know if it's because I had the opportunity to go more by myself without my dad. But yeah, probably like 15 or 16, probably in that area. I know what it was. It was 14 or 15, because my youth hunt, you can go on a youth season the weekend before opening day duck season prior to being 16. And my dad would take me some, but also that he was like getting ready to, take off lots of Saturdays because he was in insurance. And so he didn't prioritize youth season as much as my dad is a consummate, supporter of me and stuff. For some reason at that point in life, he was like, you can get it next week. We'll be fine. Whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
So my grandpa would take us, and my grandpa only duck hunted with my dad, because it was my mom's dad. And I remember going a couple times and being like, I can't hardly quack. Like, Dad's not here. Dad's the one that does all of the heavy lifting here. And I was like, we have ducks. They've never been shot at this year. Like, it's super fresh. This is a great time. And I like can't even make a quack. So that was when I turned into it.
Okay.
Rite of passage. Dad's not here. Somebody's got to pick it up.
Yeah, somebody's got to do it. So
that's what I'm doing. I'm the dad on this upcoming trip. I've told Erik billions of times. I was like, I kind of feel like you're my dad when we go out. And I'm like, because when I killed my first dove, it was still moving. And Erik and some other guys like, just wring its neck. And I was like, Eric, he said to wring its neck, and I don't know what to do and how to do it. And then he's like, just come over. He's like, I'll just do it. And I was like, thank you. Now, I did like the next 3 or 4 that needed it. So I learned, but it was a teaching moment.
The first one was pretty funny. Can you do this for me?
Yeah. Well, again, wring its neck. And since then, I've popped a head off a dove because, wring its neck can mean a couple things. But if you hit your wrist wrong, the head just stays in your hands.
Pro tip, you can like hold it by the body with the head like here, and you can kind of wiggle it like that, and it stretches the neck out, and then just on the stock, like the butt of your gun.
Oh.
Yeah, then you don't pop the head off, because I have popped the head off of a bajillion. I'll do it like a dozen times this duck season. So
Yeah.
It's,
on ducks too.
Oh, yeah, because you're trying to be humane, right? I mean, that's the
Sure.
whole point of it. You're trying to dispatch it, so you actually have to break the vertebrae on it or separate the spinal cord, and like you do it, and you're like, okay, it wasn't there, and then you kind of do it a little harder, it doesn't do it, and then a duck's bigger too, so there's more mass that you're spinning around, and then okay, now I got a headless duck. So, and then the kids are always like, why doesn't that one have a duck or have a head?
Well, again, that's it's part of the game, but that's the intent is to again stop the suffering and put it out of its misery quickly, and so that works.
It does.
It's probably there's other ways, but it works if it happens. So okay, so you've been hunting ducks for 30 plus years or so. Okay, and I've been 0. And the duck call itself, this is a Haydell's DR85 double reed mallard. Now, I bought this because it was $18 online, and Google said, if you're starting to learn how to blow into a duck call, get this. So for Father's Day, I said, you know what, just give me that, because maybe I'll hunt ducks one day. You had some opinions on this specific call, and you told me the differences between a double reed and a single reed. Would you mind explaining those one more time?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a rite of passage. Everybody has a DR85. That's like the first duck call that most everybody get. I actually have one of their 2 calls that rides along with me. So double reed, single reed. So we're talking about a musical instrument at this point, right? I mean, a lot of people think it's a tool, which it is, but it's also an instrument. So that's where there's different calling competitions and stuff showing you your ability to manipulate that instrument. So single reed has 1 reed. So you put air through this end and it vibrates. This goes through the tone channel. Double reed, it has 2 of them. So you get a little more low end kind of grunt sound to it. Not as easy to get all the different tones and things out of and stuff. So this is my lanyard, so it's my toolkit.
No, just a double reed and single reed. So it affects the tones. And what's crazy is when hearing some of these, it was noticeable for me, and I know nothing, that one of your calls is a little bit higher than the other, but that had to do with the bore inside. Mm-hmm. So the diameter of the inside of the call also impacts how it sounds.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, and it's the exhaust bore, and then also the tone channel too. I mean, all the different geometries that can go into that. I mean, so duck calls are cool. So I have
this is when he called himself a psycho earlier too.
Yeah. So there is an art. I mean, you can make them pretty. You can make them out of different types of woods and stuff. So there is like an artisan style to it, to the point where you can there's a whole folk history behind duck calls. Like I've got a handful of different books that goes through. I think the name of it's duck calls, American folk art or whatever like that. So I mean, there's lots and lots of history built into the duck call, and not just the artistic side of things, but then also where, as an engineer, there's actually just, geometry and physics and things that go into of how you get the sound out and what makes and changes that said sound.
Yeah, that's cool. And again, I was just like, you blowing it and it sounds like a duck.
Mm-hmm,
Turns out you blowing it and it sounds not like a duck. It sounds like a kazoo. It generally just sounds like a kazoo.
Waterproof kazoo.
So yeah, I mean that's what it sounds like if you just blow into it. And I'll use, and everyone online says stop using your cheeks, use your diaphragm. Makes sense in theory, but for me it took a long time to figure out. And by a long time I mean 4 days. But if you look, I still probably don't do it all of the time, but if you look at the practice I put in those 4 days, it's not just I'm gonna make a quick video, it'll take me 10 minutes. It's I'm driving around, I have this thing in my car now, I'm doing all kinds of stuff to try to get better, because I don't like being bad at stuff. And I'm bad at this. That's the only way to put it.
It's just pure practice. Like I carried it around in my truck, and when I was driving to and from class, that's what I would, work on my call. One of my really good buddies, that he got the sickness, I don't know, 4 years ago, and he's like, I want to learn to call. I want to do everything. This is like, I am a duck hunter. This is what I identify as now in life. And he works downtown, and same thing. I was like, just take your call with you and just blow to and from. And he's like, they probably thought I was ripping bongs because I just got this thing. And it's like, and then we're at a stoplight and the windows are down. And they're like, what is happening over there?
Yeah, I thought that too. When people are looking over, I was like, they probably just think I'm hitting a vape of some kind. 'Cause
Yeah.
When I'm driving down the road, they'll just see me doing this, one hand on the wheel. They'll see me doing this.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, my car can drive itself.
I
on the
know. That's
highway.
what I said. Sometimes.
But no, I actually do leave one hand on the wheel when I'm having this in my hand because there's a lot going on. So the general tips. If someone is picking up a duck call for the first time, and I won't make Eric blow into this disgusting looking one, but if someone was picking up a duck call for the first time, what would here's my how to do it in 30 seconds spiel. Like a good pair of boots or a seasoned vest, the best things are made to fit. That's how Midwest Stair Company approaches every build, tailored to your space and your style. Based out of the St. Louis area, their custom stairs are made to last and made to feel like they've always belonged. See what they're working on at MidwestStairCompany.com.
I don't know if I can. This is 30 seconds. I literally.
All right, how would you? Okay, let's assume that someone's never done it before. How would you explain to them what they need to do?
First thing I would go and I would.
And feel free to use any of
Yeah,
yours.
the first thing is I would try to get a I don't want to say a good duck call because there's lots of good calls out there that can be fairly inexpensive, right? But it's kind of like the theory that Tiger Woods had with he learned to play on blades. And he's like, if you can learn to play golf with the hardest kind of golf clubs, he's like, you will be a better golfer. Same theory kind of goes across through duck calling too, is if you learn to call on a single reed, you're going to be a much more proficient duck caller than you will be learning on a double reed, because the double reed can mask some mistakes and things of what. So that's the first thing is try to get a good single reed, and that in and of itself is a box of worms too, because people have wildly different opinions on what's a good call, what their favorite call is, why, all this different thing, right? So if you know somebody, that'd be an ask, but then it's still just their opinion too. But like, there's a handful of calls out there that I always lean on. RM Custom Calls is one of my favorite ones. They've won a bunch of the World Live duck calling competitions. So there's the World Championship duck calling or whatever is like, how do you manipulate the call in more of a musical fashion? I know some people will probably chastise me for saying that, but the World Live is basically how well can you sound like an actual duck. And to me, I'm like, well, I want that call because that's what I'm trying to do, right? Yeah. So, and RM's been guys that have won that competition last handful of years. A lot of them have been running RMs, so that's kind of my thing. Layers is a really good one, and then Ducklander out of Kansas City is actually a really good one. Bobby Hayes, I couldn't think of that guy's name last night. He has a lot of really good educational videos. So that's like the first thing. If somebody's like, hey, I want to learn to call ducks. And I was like, okay, go get a good single reed. And honestly, you can probably get one from Ducklander and get online and get on his videos.
And so a good single reed, we're talking $50, like just a starter.
Yeah, man, I haven't priced them in a while because
you got your go-tos that you know how much.
Well, yeah, and at this point in time, I'm so far down the rabbit hole that I don't buy a call that like you can just like go and get at Cabela's or anything like that. Like all of the calls on my lanyard are custom made for me, right? Materials that I've chosen, things like that. So like I'm fully in I don't want one unless it's like it's probably like $400 call at that point in time. So
okay.
like
right. Fun.
But yeah, you could probably, I'd say that 70 to 80 is probably where you could pick up a good like acrylic style call that's going to be a single reed.
Okay.
So and then get on YouTube, but be careful because there's a whole lot of people saying a lot of different things, and that's where Ducklander's videos it seemed like they resonated better. And like as somebody who like I figured it out on my own, I'm like that actually makes sense how he's saying that. All these other videos, they're kind of saying the same thing, and I'm like, well, you just said the exact same thing a different way. That makes zero sense. Like I mean, the people talking about making sounds and stuff through it. I'm like, well, yeah, the little bit because you're trying to get your muscles in your mouth or your throat and stuff to do a certain thing. But then people they're like, well, they take that as gospel. So if I'm supposed to say ticka ticka, like that's what I got to do. And it's like, well, no, you're trying to get your tongue to do a certain thing. So
someone commented on one of my videos, hum through it. And I was like, I haven't heard that tip from anywhere else. So I'm going to not try that one. But again, thank you for the advice, but I'm not going to take that one.
Yeah. And that could, I mean, too, is like, so it's air presentation, right? You're trying to get that reed to vibrate. So clean air is basically what you were doing when you just blow, right? Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of diaphragm. There's no, I call it guttural, but it's more kind of throat. Yeah, that helps that air that you're delivering have a little bit of vibration to move that reed. So yeah, humming, good intent, bad. Yeah, wouldn't do it.
and I won't be, but yeah. So the other thing is everyone says diaphragm, and blow hot air.
Yeah, the hot air. So like, and I was thinking about that even, like you sent me the video the other night and I was like, I know people have said that and I'm trying to articulate a way to get that out because I've even heard people like act like you're trying to fog up a mirror or something like that. And I'm like, well, that's the right air, but how do you who has ever been able to go with any sort of like pressure or volume? Like, I mean, you can't fog up a glass with, any sort of urgency. So yeah, I mean, the hot air thing, I'm like, well, that's the right kind of air, but I don't even know how to. So that's where like, if you have anybody that knows how to call, that you can sit there, because that was honestly, I was practicing a lot in my truck, which is like going to the gym, right? You're getting your muscles stronger to be able to do the right thing, but then you still have to go out and shoot a bunch, as a basketball guy, right? I mean, you can be strong as an ox, but if your touch isn't there.
And I am definitely strong as an ox.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So, why is that so funny? I don't know.
Right, anyway.
But so that's where like the practicing, you're getting those muscles worked and everything. But it's the difference. So when you're blowing duck calls last night, picture for clarification there. Yep. That the minutia of where your tongue's at and just the millimeters difference between where the sounds that you were getting out versus sounds I was getting out, just because that my muscles have been able to do it more and longer. So that's where like I was blowing duck calls a lot in my truck, got a lot of that practice in and stuff. But I remember when I was hunting without my dad one time, it was my uncle and my buddy and I made a sound for the first time out of my call. Like I was literally just calling at ducks with the few notes I knew how to make. And because I listened to my dad my whole childhood, like my body subconsciously was like, no, this is how the string goes. And I was like, guys, did you hear that? I've never done that before. And they're like, shut up, keep calling. And I was like, but that was really cool. So
yeah, that was crazy. Yeah. Cause, again, Eric's my direct next door neighbor. And so he came over last night after the kids went to bed and he's like, hey, let me just see what you're doing and hear what you're doing in person. And he's like, do this, put your tongue like this, make this sound. And I would say that of all of the calls that I made, I would say approximately 10% of them you would classify as good. Is that a good?
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Well, and like, I think that's you and everybody that's ever picked up a duck call, they want it to sound a certain way very specifically. And I was like, you're like, oh, and I was like, no, that was good because of like your air delivery, the pressure that you deliver to the reed. I was like, that is something that then you'll be able to refine. So if you can, you don't start out perfect, right? I mean, but if you're bricking, but your follow through and stuff's good, you're going to refine it back. Right. But if you're just wildly missing the rim, you're way off. There's a lot more to go. So.
Yeah. And, the amount of my first time skeet shooting, I think I hit 4 out of 25. And it's like, now I can hit in the 19s to 21s every time without an issue. That's what I'm hoping I'll get to with this. And I think I will. It's just, I don't expect myself to be perfect. I just don't like the fact that I'm not.
Yeah. I feel that.
So the thing that worked last night, and someone in the comments on one of the videos said pressurized air too. And I was like, I don't know what that means, because they're like, you want to strain kind of like you're lifting something heavy. So you want the air to come from that part of your body, which is your diaphragm. They're just basically trying to say use your damn diaphragm the entire time. So they said, act like you're lifting something heavy. Say hut, but I'm assuming they meant like hut, like a football, like hut, like you're crunching your abs when you're. Well,
and that hut too. That's that hot air that's coming out too, versus a hoot or the hot. It comes from here, and it's warmed up, and we'll have some throat to it. So.
Okay, and so then you talked to me about tongue placement, which no one else really did until my last video. Some guy said you need to stop and start the air with the tongue on the middle of the roof of your mouth. He said, or the back of your teeth. But you were saying that you prefer to do it on the roof. You can do it on the back of your teeth too, but you said you prefer the roof of your mouth.
Yeah,
for most of the calls you do.
So that was one of like the kind of like, eye-opening things is that Ducklander videos. Bobby was talking about how he anchored the tip of his tongue at his bottom front teeth, and you'll if you like you even said you heard people doing the Cajun squeal and things like that. Like that's not possible to do if you don't have your tongue anchored correctly. And it took me a while to kind of like relearn that, because I also as a child had was a trumpet player, and that's how you cut notes off, was with your tongue. And so that's where the ticka ticka, you're using the tip of your tongue versus like a k, which is what people call them single cuts. It's a feed chatter of sorts. It sounds way more realistic, and that's with the middle of your tongue. And so when I was watching Bobby's video, I was like, literally nobody's ever told me that before. They always just said cut the note off, and I'm like, well, it's the how, right? Like I was just too little to ask. And if it seems like you can make calls. And I'm even sitting here talking with my tongue. I'm like, yeah, you can make calls. Yeah. But if you learn to do that, then it's a little bit second nature when you're doing it. And you then can deliver a much more accurate pressure, consistent pressure, right? I mean, like your sounds are, the same every time you make them, and you can fluctuate them to make them different then. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, nobody had told me that either. That was like, I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah. So I'm going to take that piece of advice. So I'm going to blow into this and see what I can do. And how loud. I don't want to blow directly in the microphone, but this is based on the stuff. And my first ones always suck, so I'm gonna blow a couple, and then we'll see. We'll see how they go. But my other thing is, everyone's like, put your mouth on it like you're drinking out of a bottle. Now, apparently, I'm just like, oh, and like no. So it's like top lip has to be kind of on the front, and it should be resting on your bottom lip, kind of thing.
Yeah, So you can either rest it on the bottom. That's what I don't like that call. You can either rest it on the bottom, or I just like to put both my lips kind of just on it, right? Yep. So then I get the middle of my mouth is kind of delivering the air directly.
All right, let's see. Anyway.
Yeah, so those last two sound substantially better. You kind of worked your way
exactly. My first ones always suck. So if I go out there, I don't know how I'm going to be like, hopefully the ducks don't hear these first couple. Yeah. I'm going good.
Mm-hmm. You can hear it. I mean...
Well, that's the thing.
I can definitely hear that. I've never...
In the microphone, you can hear it for sure. And that's why in my videos, I'm wearing my microphone right here. And you can definitely hear me go...
Yeah, you can hear that.
Because I'm pressure... I'm going... And I'm not blowing out. And then all of a sudden I have to let it go. And it just goes... It just comes out because I'm removing my tongue from that spot. And I always want to blow into this backwards because of the shape. And I don't know why. This looks more like I should blow into this part. Anyway.
I mean, I feel like my kids do that too, so it's probably, yeah.
It's probably just some idiot that has never seen one. Knows that not that your kids are idiots. They're kids, so they haven't learned enough. All right, let's try this one. That sounds so different, and I'm not doing the things. Hang on.
Yeah, see, I think that's just a little too much throat. And that's where it's just...
I can't. I'm going to pass out. All right, that's how I sound when I blow.
So I still have that. And I was telling you last night, my buddies always used to make fun of, or not make fun of, but acknowledge, a hail call. You're going to put a lot of air through it. You're trying to call at ducks that are a long ways away to get their attention. And they joke that they could hear my dad winding up, and because he's building that pressure in his, diaphragm in his chest and getting ready to release it all. And it was like, so there's you need to have that because that's where part of the pressure is. It also starts to help the vibration of the reed and stuff, but you don't want to grunt. So it's
interesting. It's weird to hear because you can really hear it through the microphone and the headphones. That
you want to give it a whirl?
I don't know. I mean, I'll give it a shot. I don't. Okay. So where are you putting your tongue in your mouth when you're doing this? Against your bottom teeth.
Tip is on their bottom teeth, and then so what ends up happening is if this is your bottom teeth and this is your tongue. Mm-hmm. Your tongue is lifting up from the middle and the back, and it's closing against the top of your mouth.
Okay.
So, and that's where otherwise you can kind of...
Then how do I let the air out if I'm closing that off? Push my tongue back down?
Yeah, you'll release it back down. So...
You're saying kek,
yeah.
Kind of?
So I have it. And that's how so when we... that was one of the things I had him do last night. I was like, do it with your mouth open because... When your mouth is open, you literally can't cut that sound off. So, you're having to use the middle of your tongue.
Okay.
So, versus the tick, 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 which is the tip of your tongue against the top of your mouth.
You try it?
Maybe I'll do it off my
Yeah.
No worries.
Dude, so, that was we were here last night, and I was I could tell you were there's a little bit of kind of nervousness, and it's funny because I know everybody's like that. Zero judgment.
No, it's just I've never even attempted to make a sound through it ever.
The worst you could do is sound like this. I mean, because that's what this one sounds like if I just blow through it with not whatever air. So they sound drastically different already.
Yeah, raspy is what they, duck call guys refer to that as.
That sounds like a dying duck to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, those last
That sounds
three were better. Yeah,
Yeah.
the
So,
sound.
and it takes again. Whenever I blow the first one,
All right, I'll give it a shot. I'm gonna see if I can
Doesn't
make
sound-
it. So I'm gonna try to build air through my chest.
Yeah, so like that's one thing. Like when we were last night, you were kind of like heaving a little bit. I'm completely locked down. Like my abs, like they're there. I promise. They're under there. My core is locked, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm tensed up in my core, and I think that allows me to then push with this part of my body.
And then what sound am I trying to push out? Like how am I trying to push the air out?
Yeah. I don't-
All right.
It's so like a goot, but like the T you don't want to do because the T is the tip of your tongue. So good, and that's where I also words.
All right.
that last one sounded burpy. Did
Yeah,
you do something with
but
your
the-
lips on that last one?
But the first two,
Yeah,
the first two were pressure, so that's actually good. So
Yeah.
that's the thing you're getting
That
the
thing-
muscle.
Yeah.
You're kind of there, so you're getting better pressure. But that's where I was talking about. You fog up a window. Like, how do you do it with any sort of amount of air volume? And you also are
That sounds
looking,
like a turkey now.
you look really tense. I'm afraid you're gonna pass out.
I was trying to push.
I'm telling you,
I'm trying to push.
that's like yeah.
I know it's hard. So like,
I'm
how
trying
do
to
you,
keep all the air coming out the top too.
yeah,
while I'm
for
pushing.
sure.
Not
Yeah.
out the bottom.
Thank you for being vulnerable, Eric.
Yes,
You're
thank
here
you.
in good spirit.
That's weird.
And thank you for not pushing air out the bottom.
I did.
It's fun.
I
I
did
like
spit in it too, just
Yeah,
so
it's
you
fine.
might want to wipe it down.
Do you want
All right, so
do it that one? That one takes a little more air. We'll see what that is. So more air tends to be harder, but sometimes it doesn't have to be as
and
precise.
that just means the bore is larger.
Bigger typically, yeah. Yeah, so you're higher pressure, so it's a little bit of your tongue is probably just a little closer to your mouth. So if you can drop it down, you'll let more air, and that's where you get that lower tone. Yeah, you're just gonna have to practice.
Yeah.
Just air delivery.
Which
That's 6 times ever.
For sure,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's like
Well, the second round that you just did, you could definitely tell that your pressure was different on your second round of calls. That you were getting closer to what it wasn't, because it wasn't as quick and sharp.
But I didn't
as
feel
the
like I
first
was trying to
ones.
force air out both ends either. Like I was trying to relax a little bit.
Well, and then can you do me a favor? Can you show just a regular quack, how it's supposed to sound, which you've done a couple times, and then describe the feed chuckle or feed chatter or whatever people want to call it, and then do that Cajun squeal, because I just think that's crazy to me that it's a quack, you just move your tongue different.
yeah. So that's just a quack. And then you can do the ticka ticka, which is the feed chatter that a lot of people knew as, but
And
isn't.
that is supposed to replicate.
It's
supposed to
It's supposed to replicate ducks that are on the water feeding and milling around and making noise. And then
So you're trying to sound like multiple ducks eating.
Yeah, because if you go listen to ducks that are eating, they're kind of that's what it is. And that's what everybody learns the feed chuckle as. But it's not a really good hunting sound to make. But that's a
That sounds crazy to me.
yeah.
That's
So
crazy.
so then I like the a more hunting, which some people call a single cut, which is like and you'll hear like guys with cut down calls, which if you get into it, that's a whole different animal. They sound less like a duck to me, like to a human, but in the woods echoes right, and man, they're crazy, but they take a lot. But that's a so that's like the single cuts, and then the Cajun squeal.
And we're using the same thing, but it doesn't sound the same. And yeah, that's why.
And
it's
I'm not
crazy.
even a very good Cajun squealer. Like I know how to do it, but it's not in my repertoire.
Okay. Well, other than the duck calls, Eric and I will be duck hunting in a couple of months for the first time. Any sage advice that you can pass down other than stay warm and try to stay dry underneath all your gear?
Yeah. If everything's froze up, don't go.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That a lot of new hunters just really want to go and do it. And ducks migrate in front of a freeze line typically. So if that's what pushes them down here from Canada. So when everything gets locked up, ducks need water and they need feed. And if they can't access the feed because there's snow on top of it, they'll try to wait it out. But if there's snow and ice, then they'll come south where they can. So what ends up happening is if everything locks up here and it gets frozen up solid, then they may hang around for a little bit, but they quickly finish, their winter migration and get down to Arkansas, Louisiana, and stuff like that. So you said it was late December. We could very easily be froze up. And at that point in time, you're literally chasing something that's not there.
We could also be in shorts too.
You very well could.
Welcome to Missouri.
Yeah. So and one thing that's like, you mentioned a couple times that everyone's been like very helpful and stuff, and probably with duck calls, with the actual hunting portion of it, man, duck hunting guys, like,
They don't give it up.
they want to keep everybody away. It's a resource, and it's a non-replenishable resource from our, like, we can't really do anything, right? So if you're there hunting the ducks, then that's less that they can then hunt,
That's
is their theory, right? So I'll be shocked if like you get too many people that are very forthcoming. So
Well, yeah, about where to go.
Yeah.
And things like that. I totally get that. And I want to respect that too. And that's what I've said to anybody. I was like, you know what? I just need to know what areas. Don't tell me exactly where to go, because like with upland hunting, I'm like, I've never done this. Where can I go find quail within an hour drive of my house? And I don't know if there is any place. Where can I go find chucker in Missouri? Where can I go find all of these things? I have no idea. And I'm not asking you to say, all right, you turn left down this road and then you make a right and then you pull
Here's
up
my
to,
Onyx
to
pin,
the red,
go to
to
it.
the
Yeah,
red tree.
for sure.
I'm just saying, like, in general. And so that's why it's cool to have conservation areas. We have a lot of them around here.
We do.
That allow for that kind of stuff. I know that you've got some land that you hunt on, and so that's awesome and wonderful and amazing. But for those that don't have that, then you got to have the public stuff. When at that point, it's not a secret. You're just gonna go wherever you can.
Dude, and that's so even the thing on that public ground is like people try to hide, like, you know, there's little nooks and crannies there that they try to hide those as little places that, you know, they won't go, or they'll try to lead you astray. I mean, you have to really navigate through the stuff when you're trying to find information on the internet. And I mean, I've done it, you know, a handful too on public land of like, I just need to know, do I need a boat? You know, can I wade? Is it going to be dry field hunting? And they're like, yep. You're like, sick. Like,
That's what we're gonna go to a conservation area, and I think there's no boats allowed there, so that answers that part of the question. But I don't have a blind. I don't have anything, so it'll be time to make some purchases and love my wife forever. Which it's been 20 plus years, and just keep on rolling with it, I guess. But okay, well, I think that's good enough for me. I think that people get a better understanding of just the hunting world. Again, I got a gun dog. Dogs retrieve things, and ducks are birds.
you
So-
actually have a versatile dog.
I do have a versatile
Specifically,
hunting
they're
dog.
bred to do a variety of hunting.
So I will be taking her out when she's ready to do a lot of different things, because I think it's more rewarding for her too. I'm going to let her do what she was bred to do. So, well, thank you for coming on. Thanks for sharing some of your tips and showing us what duck calls are supposed to sound like. And thanks for just generally being helpful for whenever I have questions and about anything. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man.
All right. That's all.
Cool.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye.